Well, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Sure. I guess I'm Ryan, Wade's brother.
Yes. And this is Wade, and this is my podcast called Critical Wade Theory. And sometimes I review movies, and sometimes I talk about politics and stuff like that. And, it's a wide net that I cast, and occasionally have guests. And so today we're going to talk about the Tales from the Crypt episode, and it's a good one. It's the premiere, The Man Who Was Death. So, what were your thoughts on the episode? I'll start with you. I'll make you do most of the work.
Just okay, yeah. Just the general impression. I don't remember. I don't know if I ever saw the episode when I was younger. When we would watch Tales from the Crypt, or yeah, Tales from the Crypt. I almost said Dark Side.
Yeah,
um, but yeah, it's definitely a really good one, and especially being the first episode. A lot of
yeah.
times, the first episode of a series will be just okay, but yeah, it was pretty solid. And
Well, I
um,
like how the Crypt Keeper comes right out the gate. You know, ready to go. Like, there's no mystery about who this character is. They're just like, he's in your face. He's a freaking Crypt Keeper,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I like you know uh, his lines. Like, I don't know if he said it in this episode, but of course he often says "Hello, boils and ghouls," and or "Hello, kitties" and stuff like that. That
yeah.
Tales from the Crypt would be really not the same without the Crypt Keeper.
No, oh no,
And
yeah. I listened to a podcast episode with interview with John Cassier, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and he talked about how earlier in these earlier episodes, they didn't have the budget or as much of a budget,
yeah,
so they you can see that the Crypt Keeper's movements, especially like his mouth movements, are much um much they're much
more
less
crude, more
than
crude.
in later episodes. Yeah, he actually spoke much slower to allow for the
Yeah,
movement of the mouth to match his voice. But then
and this
later on, once it was more successful and they were able to get more money to update the mechanics and everything.
and this premiered on June 10th, 1989. So I would have been like, I guess 7 or 8 years old at the time,
Oh, okay,
something like
yeah.
that. So that's one reason I didn't get to see it. I don't think I well, I guess our grandma might have had cable, or our grandmas, but I don't think she had HBO.
No, I think we would watch HBO. All the pay channels would have like a weekend where it was free,
Oh
and so
yeah,
I think that's when we would watch it. Because I do remember watching it. Although I think it was eventually on Fox, I think, after
yeah. They
what
had
syndicated.
censored versions with a
Yeah,
lot of the,
yeah.
and
Uh,
they even had that kids show version, which was pretty fun, like Tales from the Crypt Keeper.
yeah,
I used to watch that.
George, my son George, and I have watched a number of episodes of that,
Oh yeah. And
and
do you
yeah,
remember
it's
the?
pretty good.
I'm getting sidetracked, but do you remember the Where's Waldo cartoon?
Oh yeah, we've
That
watched a few episodes of that too.
yeah.
The voice of the wizard Whitebeard, that's Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Oh really? I didn't know. Didn't know
Clearly
that.
doing like a Rodney Dangerfield impression.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there was also a Back to the Future cartoon, and I don't want to get too sidetracked here, but we're entering a nostalgia zone here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And what one of the interesting things about before we get too specifically into the episode, I was doing a little bit of research on the show in general, and it turns out that Arnold Schwarzenegger, um, he was paid $15,000 to direct an episode, and he said at the time that it was the greatest joy I've ever had in the movie business. So apparently he had a pretty fun time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that was the episode with William Hickey, the old man from oh god,
Possibly.
Christmas Vacation, Puppet Master. He's been
Yeah,
in a
he's
lot of things. Tales from the Dark Side, the
yeah,
movie,
Tales from the
actually.
Dark Side too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Major Payne, he's in that one as well.
Oh, geez, I don't remember that.
That's the
We saw that in the theater.
that has Damon Williams
Yeah,
as
or
a very
Wayans.
stern person in the, I guess the military could be the right word for it, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I guess there was never a sequel to that one.
No, still waiting for.
Yeah,
I
you know.
started writing one, but it
Yeah, you
never
could.
finished it.
So anyway, as I'm sure a lot of people know, this show is based on the EC Comics series of the same name, created by William Gaines and Al Feldstein. Have you ever read any of those?
Yeah, I used to have some of the comics. They were probably reissues.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember buying them, and yeah, I don't know whatever happened to them, but because I don't remember seeing them. I wonder if I borrowed them to somebody and
oh yeah. I mean,
they never got back or something.
I think to be honest, some of our comics got mixed up. So some of mine might have ended up in yours, and vice versa, or whatever. And I'm sure I've lost all my old comics, which I mean, I
Yeah,
probably have some of them somewhere.
I don't have any of them. So yeah, I don't know what happened
Yeah.
to them.
So that's kind of sad, but I do remember seeing some gory scenes in those comics. I had a few myself,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
this episode was written by Walter Hill and Robert Renault, and it was directed by Walter Hill as well. And
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the plot? I guess we might as well start getting into the actual episode.
Yeah, I mean this is like a classic kind of Tales from the Crypt episode. And I think what a lot of anthology series, try to be like, even kind of including Twilight Zone, where you have this character who is basically he's an executioner, and all of a sudden they repeal or ban or abolish the death penalty, and so then he kind of he becomes a vigilante and starts going out on his own and putting people he deems um like bad
Yeah, sort of
bad
like
guys or
Dexter, only
criminals.
Dexter.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And like,
oh
so yeah, the first person that he kills is this this like biker guy
yeah,
who uh I guess killed somebody and gets away with it because there is an issue with the warrant or something.
yeah, it's kind of Freddy Krueger like.
Yeah, yeah. And I kept waiting for somebody to say the lawyers got fat and the judge got famous.
Yeah. Well, that biker guy's his character is named Jimmy Flood, and he was also the guy who played the biker in Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yeah, who puts the
And,
cigar out in
yeah,
the Terminators, the revamped um oh, I'm trying to think of the right word. Terminator, the
T100.
T800, but I was gonna say well, the new like Good Samaritan Terminator.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
Well, that
Hero
actor's
Terminator.
name is Robert Winley. I wrote down notes here.
Yeah, yeah.
And, let's see what else. What other notes do I have? Well, the main character, the guy who's executing people, his name is Niles Talbot, and he's played
Yeah,
by William Sadler. You know,
yeah, yeah.
he's obviously in things like, um, well, he's in the Bill and Ted movies. He plays Death there,
Yeah,
which is kind of funny
coincidentally.
because in a way he plays Death in this episode as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And well, of course, he's also in the Shawshank Redemption as
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
prisoners. So
Yeah, he was also in all of the Tales from the Crypt movies, like Demon Knight
oh
and
yeah,
Bordello of Blood.
so he was like a true believer in the series.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast with interview with him yesterday as well, and he talked about how he actually read the comics growing up.
Oh yeah,
So he was a big fan of them, and
sure.
like he was like a monster kid, a big fan of like the Universal monster movies and stuff. And
Well, part of why this character snaps is that he was an executioner who was unemployed because of the state abolishing the death penalty. So there's actually a little bit of a, I don't know, a social commentary there
yeah,
because
yeah,
like ironically, one of the characters he kills had killed somebody because he didn't get a job. So there's definitely a little bit of commentary on financial hardship, potentially setting people down a darkened path into
yeah, yeah.
murder and mayhem. You know,
That was the
the
first
red,
the
well, the second guy, I think, or was he the first?
the
Ledbetter guy?
Ledbetter. Yeah, he was the one that was at the very beginning. He's the one that gets the electric chair.
Oh yeah, he didn't face revenge from Niles. That's right.
Right, right. And yeah, like you said, the Ledbetter name could be reference to uh is it Huddy?
Leadbelly. Yeah,
Yeah, Huddy
Buddy
Ledbetter.
Ledbetter,
Yeah.
also known as Leadbelly, the
Right.
famous blues man who was
Yeah, yeah.
partly legendary because he really did kill somebody and he ended up in prison. Whereas, like Johnny Cash probably never really shot somebody in Reno just to
No,
watch
I
him.
don't think so.
But, Leadbelly really did face that sort of justice, I guess you could say.
Was he
I don't remember a lot
electrocuted?
of no, no,
He
no.
wasn't. No.
No, he was fine, I guess. He did his time and he redeemed himself through music,
Yeah, yeah.
which is part of his legacy. It's a much more proud legacy than this Niles guy, or than the other Ledbetter character in this particular episode.
And the the name Talbot, that's the name of in the Wolfman,
Oh, sure, sure,
Lawrence Talbot. I wonder
yeah.
if that was a reference.
It very well could be. A lot of these uh, horror episodes and movies, they like to make a bunch of references. Like, well, as you know, Friday the 13th Part 6 makes tons of references. Like, isn't there a Karloff General Store
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
So, I mean,
Cunningham Road, I think, and
oh, yeah,
I think
Cunningham
there's a
Road.
few I think there's a few movies where, or maybe that's Scream, but yeah, there's always references in movies.
Yeah. So, he apparently feels a strong sense of moral duty and a desire for justice. And he takes matters in his own hands and he decides to continue his grim work as an independent vigilante. But at the same time, it is also clear that he is sadistic. So that brings
Yeah,
me to Dexter once again.
right. Yeah, because he clearly enjoys what he does.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. And they're,
and like the second person he kills, well, it's actually a couple, because that guy killed his wife, and he kills them in a hot tub with or I can't remember. He drops something in the hot tub, I guess, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it electrocutes them. And that the guy that is in the hot tub, that's Garrett what is his name? Garrett Graham? Yeah.
Well, I didn't look that one up.
He plays the foster dad in Child's Play 2.
Oh, wow.
And also he is in Chud 2, Bud the Chud. He plays Bud the Chud.
Oh, yeah, I think, okay, yeah.
And
I recognize him now, as the dad
and
from Child's Play 2.
yeah, he's been in a lot of things. He's also in any Seinfeld fans, the Seinfeld episode where they go to the opera and there's this guy dressed up as a clown, and Jerry's like, that is one angry clown. That's him, also dressed up as the clown.
Yeah. Well, Niles brands himself as a crusader against crime, but it reminds me of how Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, phrased it. He said, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room." So, at the end of the day, even though he wants to think of himself as, pursuing a just cause, there are definitely people who will recoil in horror at what he's done and who think he just as much deserves the electric chair as anybody else that he's killed.
Right.
And his actions are just I mean, they could be seen as, like, you have to have violence in these episodes and whatever. But it's like Nightmare on Elm Street. It's interesting to see the consequences of vigilantism and the blurred line between justice, revenge, and just plain sadism.
Yeah. And then the third person he kills, or I mean, attempts to kill, that the like exotic dancer in the cage, like
Yeah,
it's not. I don't think there's nothing explained what she did other than being an exotic dancer. So is he just killing her because of that? And so it's
I don't know. I don't remember what they said about her exactly.
yeah,
Um,
because he's just talking about in a rather crude manner about like how the old not theory, but the like treat queens like whores and whores like
yeah.
queens. And yeah, I don't know what that had to do with that, the
Yeah, I
woman
mean,
in the
there
cage.
were points where he was, it seemed like he was just riffing in a way, in this,
Yeah,
which almost makes him seem more real. You know what I mean?
right.
And of course, there is a bit of a twist ending, which you can see in any image that you look up of this episode, which is that yes, he does get electrocuted himself,
Yeah, because
and
they catch him at the strip club or whatever.
yeah. There's
And
really no need for a spoiler because that's really a hallmark of the Tales from the Crypt series altogether.
oh yeah. And I would think, yeah, it would help to watch this episode before
Yeah,
listening to this, I guess.
you know,
Um
revenge is so standard to Tales from the Crypt. It's almost a bit cliched, but it at the same time you you want to see that because
yeah,
that's what.
yeah. It's it's a big part of life, even not
Yeah,
as necessarily if you know, go through with anything, but just fantasy. So
yeah. Well, it's a bit like a Lifetime movie where you always have to expect that a man or a woman drops something, then they both kneel down to pick it up and they exchange smiles, and one of them awkwardly says, "I should go."
yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like to expect that in that genre. Just like here, you got to expect a character is going to get a twisted variety of revenge.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So lots of morality tale kind of stuff, and the Crypt Keeper, lots of macabre humor. What did you think of his the closing bit where he was electrocuting himself for kicks?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was funny. And I think that's a running thing too in the show. Like whatever whatever happens in the episode. Probably not ever at the end of every episode, but
Yeah.
I've watched a number of. I do have the series on DVD, and we've been watching them little by little. I think we're into season 2 maybe, but yeah, there's still like, I think there's 7 seasons altogether, so I got a ways to go yet.
Oh yeah. It's and I think back then they had more episodes in a standard season in a TV show. I think there's like, isn't there like 20 something episodes?
Well, I think the first season only had like 6 or something,
Oh,
but
okay.
then yeah, the second might have had more, maybe 16. I'm not sure.
Well, there's another interesting thing about this episode too, is that it sort of puts the audience in the role of accomplice rather than just being a passive spectator or a victim. At
Oh
least,
yeah,
at least that's kind of how I see it.
right,
Because
definitely.
it's like you're right there with him every step of the way, basically, as he does these things and rationalizes them.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he's basically speaking to the audience. Really,
Yeah,
it kind of breaks the fourth
ice,
wall. Yeah, fourth wall.
ice.
Which, and that's kind of like the campy, or I don't know. I feel like this is definitely like a popcorn show where you can't really
No,
read into it too much. Like well, because it's funny because like I don't know the time span for like each, like when he's doing the murders and stuff, but like the death penalty is abolished, and then all of a sudden he kills 2 people and attempts to kill another one, and then all of a sudden they tell him that the death penalty is
yeah,
reinstated. So I don't know if there's a real quick change in of administration, or
maybe I don't know. Like maybe there was a coup and I don't know.
yeah.
That kind of thing can happen. And we also don't get to see any work really that much by the police detectives. We
No,
just see
no.
the result of their investigation, which is realistic enough. Um,
Yeah.
it's what
You
would happen to the character of Niles, if he wasn't aware of the police progress.
yeah, you can, yeah, kind of fill in the blanks there.
And that this character obviously doesn't feel guilty for what he's done or anything like that.
No. And then of course, like at the beginning, how he talks about how everybody that goes to the chair is like this, does the same thing. They start talking
Yeah.
about like crying and saying the governor's going to call. And of course he does the same thing when he's
Oh
being
yeah.
led to the chair. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh, go
thought
ahead.
he was really good, William Sadler. I'm a big fan of his in general. Everything I've seen him do, he's really good. I apparently he auditioned for the role of the cop at the end who like reads him his rights.
Oh,
So they, I think the casting director talked him into trying out for the lead role,
hmm.
and they told him to like grease up his hair and like darken his teeth or something when he came
Yeah.
back to do a second audition or a read through, which he didn't do apparently, but they liked the way that he read the script and whatnot.
Yeah. The character doesn't really consider the consequences of vengeance or, the need for an orderly process other than, just the order of whatever fate that he brings about. And, there's a sense of, there's a, well, it seems like he's sort of dismissing like concerns about the death penalty as, like a media frenzy or something, and society being too soft, and he doesn't see any issues at all with pulling that switch. So
Right, yeah.
that,
It's kind of like that's what is supposed to happen, and then it's taken away, and so he goes out and
yeah. Well, it's just
fulfills
nature's way, you
his
know.
addiction in a way.
Yeah, yeah, like a murder addiction.
Yeah, yeah.
And ultimately, rather than Niles' executioners being faced with the most difficult case of their careers, they flip it around, you know, and
Oh yeah.
it ends up being one of the easiest cases because it got him dead to rights.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, like you said, he's like, the governor's going to call any minute, but he never gets that call. So,
That's definitely a cliche in movies and TV shows where
oh yeah,
the phone rings like seconds before they're about to throw the switch.
I I do think that has actually happened in the past, though. Oddly enough, I don't know why they would
Oh,
cut it so close,
I
but
would imagine,
I
yeah.
think I've heard of some exact, like more than one example of it happening. But
Well, I know
so
there's an episode of Quantum Leap where oh, that's funny that I mentioned that cuz John Cassier was in a comedy group with Scott Bakula. That's
oh
funny.
wow,
Coincidentally.
I did not know that.
I
And
wonder if he was ever in an episode of Quantum Leap. I'll have to look that up.
oh, who knows? Maybe. So, how did you watch this? I mean, did I had to watch it on YouTube?
I actually I watched it on Voodoo. I didn't watch the DVD that I have. I could have, but
Yeah.
I had bought the first season and part of second season, I think, on Voodoo a while back, and for a while it wasn't available to watch on there, even though I bought the episodes, because I guess on there and Amazon Prime, if you buy episodes, you don't necessarily always get to watch them or keep them.
Yeah, that's
Which,
stupid.
yeah, I don't like that, but I guess that's they say it somewhere in fine print, or I don't know.
Yeesh.
But I just for just for the heck of it, I looked and it was available to watch, so that's where I
Yeah.
watched it.
Well,
And
I guess that's. Oh, what were you gonna say?
oh, and I was just gonna say I watched a little part of it again today on my phone because when you mentioned the song that they play by Link Ray,
Oh yeah,
and
Link Ray. Yeah.
because yeah, like I said, I got it mixed up with Davy Allen and the Arrows blues theme, which is another like motorcycle type
Yeah,
theme.
there
Or
is that little part of the episode where it seems like they're paying homage to Link Ray and his song Rumble.
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah,
I don't know if you people out there listening have heard that song, but it's an interesting piece of musical history because I think it's the only instrumental piece that was basically banned from radio, at
yeah,
least
that's
in
weird.
areas, which is kind of crazy. Because how do you ban an instrumental for being offensive? And it doesn't even have a particularly offensive title. It's just,
No, no.
but I guess they were that afraid of rock music at the time. And it's a little bit funny because like people nowadays they would hear a song like that and think nothing of it, but it really goes to show you what kind of power music really can have when
Oh
just an
yeah,
instrumental was apparently enough to send, you know, creeps and shivers down normal America's spine.
right. Yeah.
So do you have any final thoughts?
Um. No, I guess not. Yeah. Other than just um William Sadler again, well, was in Bill and Ted as the Grim Reaper, and
Yeah.
he said that he based the voice of the Grim Reaper on a guy he used to work with, like a Czechoslovakian guy or an actor that he worked with. I think in because he did a lot of theater, and so he basically just did that guy's voice as the Grim Reaper.
That's cool. Yeah, so well, I guess that's all I have to say about the episode. I've kind of run out of notes and steam and all that stuff. So
Yeah, definitely check it out if you've never seen it. It's a good
yeah,
episode.
well, yeah, Tales from the Crypt in general is pretty rocking.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the next episode is great too.
Oh
Episode
yeah.
2 has a great malevolent Santa Claus that's very fun to watch. For some reason, I don't think I watched it around this Christmas time,
No, I didn't either.
which is
Or
strange because it's
Halloween.
something that I often watch
Yeah, I
around.
usually watch the 1972 Tales from the Crypt movie
Yeah,
around this time, because, well, around Halloween time, of course, because it's a horror movie, and then because it's that episode with the Santa. Yeah,
yeah. He. Oh, what's that guy's name? The guy who plays Doctor Giggles.
Larry Drake.
Larry Drake. There we go.
Yeah,
Normally I
yeah.
remember his name too, but yeah, Larry Drake does just an amazing job as that character.
Yeah.
There are a lot of great deranged Santa Claus characters, but I don't know if I've ever seen that one topped. Like in
No,
terms of just
I
how
mean, the original one, he's a creepy guy, but yeah, Larry Drake they put like stuff in his mouth so that he's like drooling and just like really dark
oh yeah,
teeth, and
you
yeah.
can tell he's really into it playing that character.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, anyway, I guess I'll let you go, and hopefully you people out there enjoyed listening to this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Not every episode is going to be a movie or TV show review, but I like to do these every so often.
Oh yeah, who doesn't like movies and TV?
Exactly. We're hermits in the hills, and we don't like those kind of people. They're over intense for a reason.
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
I'm not bashing hermits in the hills. I kind of want to be one myself half the time. But anyway, you have a good day. I'll probably see you on Monday.
Yeah, yeah.
And all right,
All
have a
right.
good one.
Yeah, all right. See ya.